In that meeting, it stipulated to troopers on the midnight shift, 100 DUI arrests will be required each year per trooper.
If they're DUI, I want you to load the jail full of them.
Turner also talks about
What did he say? See, this isn't crime. This isn't about crime prevention. This isn't about prevention. This is about making money. What did he say?
If they're DUI, I want you to load the jail full of them.
If they're DUI, I want you to load the jail full of them. Not let's try to prevent people from getting DUIs. Let's try to prevent people from, putting their lives and the lives of other people who are around them at risk. No. The point that they want to make is they want to load up the jails. Why do they want to load up the jails? Why do they need to load up the jails? This isn't just some conspiracy. We're talking cold, hard facts here. That there is money to be made. There are palms to be greased. There's cheese to be grated. This is exactly the capitalist system that we live in. And that's exactly what it is. They got to make as much money as they possibly can. So they got to keep you in the system. You know them police officers. Especially at the end of the month, man, they always trying to pull somebody over because they got a quota they got to meet. Have you ever heard that? One of the things we're going to do is we're actually going to be talking about this news report that just came out with whistleblowers talking about how they were how as former state troopers, they had to fulfill a quota in order to be able to essentially keep their jobs or maintain a decent performance as police officers. And so a lot of us have been talking about this for years. We've heard this. And so is anybody really surprised about this? I'm not, but I think that it is great that we have people that are speaking out about this. Whistleblowers are extremely important, especially when it comes to our different institutions in this country. Whistleblowers have actually blown the whistle on so many different things. You have Daniel Hale, you have John Kiriakou, you have Edward Snowden. You have so many different people who blew the whistle on things that we need to know as a nation. Well, this gives us confirmation of what we already knew. Let's get into this because I think this story is pretty big. And I think more people should know about this, and we should be looking into this in every state. This takes place in Tennessee. Let's continue to look at this. So let me make sure it starts on time. All right, let's go.
This is corruption. We're ruining people's lives. We're being forced to ruin people's lives.
Former state troopers are coming forward tonight, blowing the whistle, they say, on a quota system that's leaving innocent people charged with crimes they did not commit. Good evening. I'm Lauren Lowry.
And I'm Marius Payton.
I'm Tracy Cornett. The next time you're out driving on the interstate, especially late, you're going to be thinking about what WSMV4 Investigates has now uncovered.
Chief investigative reporter Jeremy Finley is here with the latest on his sobering problem investigation.
Well, guys, what we've uncovered is more than just two former troopers coming forward about what they say is a system designed to pressure troopers into making as many DUI arrests as possible. We've also obtained a secretly recorded meeting and internal maps that troopers say explains why so many innocent people are being charged with DUI. We've told you about Thomas Manis's arrest and Stephanie Fair's and Candace Slade's and all the other people arrested for DUI by state troopers when they were completely sober. But we've never heard from any of the troopers who've arrested sober people for DUI until now.
This is corruption. We're ruining people's lives. We're being forced to ruin people's lives.
Do you know if you've ever arrested a sober driver for DUI?
Yes, sir. I'm sure I have.
Former troopers Ashley Smith and Adam Potts say there's a reason so many innocent people have been arrested for DUI in Tennessee by state troopers. A reason, they say, revealed in these internal maps and recorded audio from a troopers meeting in Chattanooga.
Arrest every DUI that you can get your hands on.
We've always thought this was a great thing because you want to get drunk drivers off the road. Do you feel like that this push to get DUIs is eventually having a negative outcome?
Absolutely. There's pressure to arrest DUIs.
Potts says it's not just pressure.
It's a quota.
I have to ask you, did you ever feel pressure just to pull someone over and arrest them for DUI just to make a quota?
Absolutely.
It's something direct.
So, look, we were told many times, oh, that's hogwash. There is no quota for police. You know, just make sure that you're following the law. You don't have anything to worry about. And next thing you know, guess what? You get pulled over and they're like, I think I smell alcohol. You don't smell no damn alcohol, but you're lying because you got to fulfill that quota just so that you can get a good performance review. That's what it is. And so when people talk about defund the police, this is the type of stuff that they talk about. Because why are we spending taxpayer money up the yin yang just to arrest people who are not guilty of anything? Just to fulfill a quota? Why are we doing that to fulfill a quota? What are we actually doing this for? Is it because we need to keep the jails full? Is this because not only do some jails who may also have a partnership with a corporation? Also, the food that's supplied to prisons, right? They probably have to fulfill a quota for that. They probably have to fulfill a quota for, keeping the laundry up in jail and food in jail. They might have to also, a lot of these companies, there are also telecommunications companies where you have to pay so much money in order to be able to accept a phone call from a jail. All these people got their hands in the pot saying, you guys need to arrest more people so that we can make more money. And so that puts pressure on police in order to be able to push more people into jails, even if they're innocent. The problem is systemic. It's not you should just follow the law and nothing bad will happen to you. There are people literally following the law right now, and guess what? They are being targeted too. People who are literally following the law, all because police have to fulfill some dumb, stupid, idiotic quota that is built on greed. And see, this is why a capitalist system is so dangerous. Because the rule of law goes out the window when profits are involved. When profits are needed, when profits are dominant, when it's profits over people, that means that even if you're following the rule of law, you still get shafted anyway. And so this is one of the biggest issues that we see right now, especially within policing today. And policing has always been this bad, but now it's starting to affect more people who you wouldn't think get targeted like this. So now it's more working class white people that are getting targeted like this, when in reality, because guess what? They already have a target on our backs, but you know who needs more money? You know who needs more profits for their shareholders? The companies that either feed the prisoners in jail, the inmates in jail, the companies that do the laundry, that provide some of the laundry services, the companies that also do the phones, the companies that also provide for the commissaries, right? And guess what? Guess what happens when you go to the commissary? What is it? It's stuff from Nabisco. It's stuff from PepsiCo and Frito-Lay. It's stuff from all these different food companies that supply, guess what? The jails with commissary items. And then they uptick the price on them so they can make more cash because they know that stuff actually has value in prison. A honey bun goes far behind bars. Okay? A cup of noodles goes far behind bars. Cigarettes go far behind bars. Why? Because that's the currency that they have. You think about these food companies that provide commissary. They're like banks in prison. And so, of course, the more inmates in jail you have, the more inmates in prisons you have, then that means the more money they make. And so who has to pressure them in order to bring more people into these jails? Da, 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 da. The cops, the state troopers, right? And so this is why there's a lot of pressure, because they want that government money. That government money is long. Even if it's not the federal government, that government money is long, baby. Because we always talk about contractors, military contractors with the federal government. But what about contractors with state government? What about contractors with municipal government? What are they doing? Because we have military contractors that make buckets and buckets of money off of us, off of our federal dollars, when it comes to federally. But what about states? What about municipalities? Yeah, they can't print their own money. They're currency users instead of currency issuers, but they still got a ton of currency. And then they can lobby either state representatives or state senates, or they can lobby, city councils and county commissioners. They can lobby them in order to be able to get more funds for those sectors that they typically suck more money out of by abusing you and me. And this is something that a lot of people don't think about. It's all tied within the capitalist system because the CEOs and the people at the top need to get more and more, because they can't just get enough just from us black people no more. And this is also one of the reasons why they're upping the amount of people that they're trying to detain through immigration too. Because guess who makes money off of these detention centers? Those companies. But guess what? There's not enough of them either, because the more they deport, guess what? The less people there are to arrest. So guess who they're coming after next? They're coming after Scott. They're coming after Taylor. They're coming after Seth. They're coming after the white folks. And the working class white folks are always caught in the crossfire when it comes to anybody that focuses on the marginalized. Any group that demonizes the marginalized, guess what? White people, I want you to know this. Whenever they come after the marginalized, always know in your mind, you're next. You are next. And so this is one of the reasons why it's so important that we have solidarity across the board when it comes to who targets us and who targets our contemporaries who are marginalized in other different areas. So let's continue this. So here is the meeting that they had where they actually have one of the chiefs talking about meeting the quota.
It's something directly addressed in recorded audio from a meeting with Captain Patrick Turner out of Chattanooga, obtained by WSMV4 Investigates.
I'm passing on the message of what the command staff wants. What does hard work look like? Well, it could look like arresting 100 plus DUIs a year.
In that meeting, it stipulated to troopers on the midnight shift, 100 DUI arrests will be required each year per trooper.
If they're DUI, I want you to load the jail full of them.
Turner also talks about
What did he say? See, this isn't crime. This isn't about crime prevention. This isn't about prevention. This is about making money. What did he say? Hold up. What did he say?
required each year per trooper.
If they're DUI, I want you to load the jail full of them.
If they're DUI, I want you to load the jail full of them. Not let's try to prevent people from getting DUIs. Let's try to prevent people from, putting their lives and the lives of other people who are around them at risk No, 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 no. The point that they want to make is they want to load up the jails. Why do they want to load up the jails? Why do they need to load up the jails? This isn't just some conspiracy. We're talking cold, hard facts here. That there is money to be made. There are palms to be greased. There's cheese to be grated. This is exactly the capitalist system that we live in. And that's exactly what it is. They got to make as much money as they possibly can. So they got to keep you in the system. Even if you're innocent, even if you have not done anything wrong, they have something to target you about. Look at how many people who are brown that are being targeted by ICE right now. And some of them are U.S. citizens. And they're being targeted right now by ICE. Why? Because there's money to be made. That's what it is. This is the public-private partnerships that they like to advertise and say, oh my God, we got a public-private partnership. Aren't we so great? This is exactly what it is. Because you have profits when it comes to law enforcement. Profits in law enforcement are something that are made to screw over other people because they got to make more. Profits, law enforcement is no longer not-for-profit. It's no longer non-profit. Because as long as you have that public-private partnership, then guess what? It is a for-profit business. Meaning police are working for corporations indirectly by proxy in order to be able to get more money for the shareholders. This is why they get scared when we talk about defund the police. Let's continue on.
Turner also talks about consequences when it comes to how many DUI arrests are made, as well as contacts, meaning drivers pulled over each shift.
You turn in 33 DUIs per year and 1.7 contacts, you're going to get spanked.
But despite what you just heard,
What does that spanking mean? Fire Marshal Bill is getting a little freaky there. But here's the thing. That means that there's punishment. That means there's retribution for not making as many DUI arrests as you can. Even if it means coming after people who are innocent, who are not driving under the influence. And why are we funding them? Let's continue.
This is what the THP emailed us. Quote, the Tennessee Highway Patrol does not have or use quotas for traffic stops, citations, or arrests. And there's more. In emails obtained through the Open Records Act, Captain Bruce McCarley sent out maps this year. Subject line, DUI map. It shows every county in District 8 and every trooper with a number next to it. These former troopers say those are the numbers of DUI arrests made by each trooper. What is the message to you all? Why send this out to troopers?
You're not doing good enough because somebody else is beating you with the DUIs. You need to do better.
These former troopers say there are incentives for troopers to make DUI arrests.
The advantage of arresting somebody, whether they're really drunk or not, is I continue to get that premium overtime.
So does that translate to troopers feeling like, if I'm working this shift, I've got to find somebody to arrest?
Absolutely.
So he said you get that premium overtime. That means that there is a financial incentive for police to arrest you. That's why if you are being arrested, they're going to do it anyway because that means there's more money for them. So whose palms are being greased? You have the police, you have their chiefs, right? The lieutenants, the chiefs, everybody, the captains. Then on top of that, you got the corporations that are in line for the jails that make money off of people being incarcerated. And so this is why they want to arrest you. because they have a financial incentive to do so, including the cops, even if you're innocent. Why in the world do you think they escalate? It gives them a reason to get more hours on the clock so they can make more money off of your ass. And so when we talk about defund the police, guess what that also means? That means cutting their hours, which is why they don't like it. Even though if we were to defund them, it would go towards programs that actually cut poverty, which is directly linked to crime. You see, the less impoverished people are, the less crime goes down in the commensurate rate, and there's less crime being committed. So therefore, the necessity of police goes where? Down. And guess what? That means firings, hours cut. They can't command that. Look, if I have a job where I can have a superiority complex, have a God complex, be able to rule over people with impunity who are slightly lower than me that are still working class, and then make more money off of being abusive to them, then of course you're going to ramp it up. There's no sense of duty towards your community. The only sense you got to is making sure that bank account and that 401k is full. This is why, for many of us, especially those of us on the left, it's ACAB all day. I said what I said. Go cry to your big mama about it. And so here you go. And thank goodness these whistleblowers are blowing the whistle on this. Let's finish up.
For full transparency, both Potts and Smith were fired by the THP. Potts pleaded guilty to leaving the scene of a single car accident involving his personal vehicle.
I made a mistake. I had a crash off duty.
And the THP is seeking to decertify Smith, accusing her of helping a family member to get out of a DUI. She's fighting that claim before the state. The THP may simply say that you're just a disgruntled employee, and that's why you're coming forward.
I would have said something before if it wouldn't have been career suicide for me.
As for what the THP says about their claims and everything else we've obtained, we don't know.
Colonel, this is Jeremy Finley with Channel 4.
After we tried to speak with the head of the THP in August and he drove away in a car, we once again sent our findings to them, asking for an interview. Instead, they sent a statement reading in part, troopers are highly trained and expected to use their judgment and make necessary traffic stops based on observed violations and public safety needs.
I think they really don't care about the citizens. I think they care about the way it looks, the perception.
They don't care about citizens. They care about the way it looks and the perceptions. Because there's also politicians that need the arrests to go up, because then that makes it look like they're more tougher on crime, which means that people will feel like their things are safer for them. And so that means the votes are going to go towards them. When in reality, police actually aren't making things safer. Also, if you have not already, I want you to go ahead and Google, do police have a constitutional duty to protect you? And you will be interested to find out what the Supreme Court ruled. TLDR, no, they don't. And so this is no different than the pressure that those of us who are in sales feel to meet quotas at the end of the month. You see, closer towards the end of the month, the pressure is on. The managers are on your back to make sure you meet those sales quotas. If not, then you're out. And so some of those people who are salespeople, guess what? They get a little bit more brash, a little bit more obnoxious. They get a little bit more in your face and pushing you to buy, because they got to make that quota by a certain date in order so that they can either make their money go a little bit more higher, and or they won't get fired for not making the quota. And so guess what? They do the same thing with police. It's not about law enforcement. It's about maintaining this system that exploits you. And the whistleblowers that blew this whistle, like, we're saying, duh, we've known this for a while. Let's take a look here that I wanted to share as well. This talks about police quotas. This is out of the University of Pennsylvania, Penn Carey Law. So it says intellectual life at Penn Carey Law. Here it goes. It says in the abstract. Now, this came out about 4 years ago. Let's take a look here. Let me make sure I have this big enough. It says the American public is slowly recognizing the criminal justice system's deep defects. Mounting visual evidence of police brutality and social protests are generating an appetite for something different. I just want to remind people, this article came out in 2021. What happened in 2020? Yeah, a knee was on somebody's neck for over 8 minutes and then they died. And that person who died, his name is George Floyd. The officer was Derek Chauvin. And so now people were looking very closely at what police were doing. What is the actual real purpose of police? And are they actually effective in actually combating and preventing crime? Let's continue on into this article. It says people across the political spectrum vary in their conceptions of the pressing problems and how to solve them. Interestingly, there is one consequential and overlooked area of the criminal justice system where there's broad consensus: police quotas. Because police quotas are formal and informal measures that require police officers to issue a particular number of citations or make a certain number of arrests. Although law enforcement leadership typically denies implementing quotas, courts, legislators, and officers have all confirmed the existence of this practice and linked it to odious criminal justice problems such as racial profiling, policing for profit, and over-criminalization. These problems have led legislators in so many states to implement statutory prohibitions on quotas. Some of these statutes are of recent vintage, and others are decades old. Nevertheless, these prohibitions and their attendant litigation have escaped sustained analytical scrutiny. Legal scholars typically overlook police quotas, subsume them with other categories, for instance, broken windows policing, or give pat acknowledgement of their existence without explaining how they work. So this talks about police quotas, and basically, really, police quotas are dangerous because it puts a bigger target on our back as citizens. And it basically generalizes and sweeps people who are innocent into the same camp. And even though, and then on top of that, people who may commit crimes, what are we doing in order to reorient the system in order so that they will be less likely to commit crimes, less likely to want to commit crimes or feel that they need to? But the thing is, we're not interested in that. We're interested in putting a Band-Aid on the gaping wound. And so this is why I wanted to bring this up, because I thought that this story needs to be told, that you now have state troopers who are whistleblowing about the quotas that are put forth with different institutions of law enforcement. And so my question is, are there quotas with the district attorney's office for getting a certain amount of convictions? That's my question. We all know about the prison system, and especially how they have to keep prisons, at a certain occupancy rate. I think this also applies to jails too. But just like I said earlier, this also can apply to the companies that supply the food for commissary, the toiletries for commissary, It could be about, like, for instance, the clothing and sheets and linen that they have to provide and or clean, right? Like, for instance, could some of these big corporations that provide laundry detergent, the more people you have incarcerated in jail, the more laundry detergent you're going to use in order to be able to wash all those uniforms, to wash those beds and sheets, right? Yeah, think about it. Or the people who create the jumpsuits and the uniforms for inmates, right? The people who create the shoes and the slides for inmates to use. All this stuff got money involved. Everything. Palms need to be greased. And so this is the problem with private-public partnerships. And so I want us to think more deeply about what goes into the system. So, do police have quotas that they have to meet? Duh. But this means that we also now have to change the system and create a brand new system where real public safety is tied to protection of the people and not profits. Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate it from the top and bottom of my heart. If you'd like to see any more, you can look here. 1.